Hi everyone, it's Friday. So here it is, story time with Mrs. Taylor. Let's go. This is called Mr. Large in Charge from the Large Family Collection. There's lots and lots of different books of these. And this is by Jill Murphy. She's the author, the person who wrote the book. Here's the family. Little illustration to start us off. Gives you a clue to what they're going to be doing. Mrs. Large opened one eye and peered out at the morning. She forced open the other eye, dragged herself out of bed and set off downstairs to the kitchen, where Mr. Large had kindly started the children on their breakfasts. "You look ghastly, dear," said Mr. Large. "Don't say that to Mummy," said Laura indignantly. "Mummy looks beautiful," exclaimed Lester. "But for Mama," said the baby. "Oh yes, of course. Mummy's beautiful," said Miss Large. I meant she doesn't look well. Are you feeling all right, dear?" The bad books already, but she doesn't look very well, does she, bless her? "As a matter of fact, I don't feel too good," admitted Mrs. Large. "But I was going to take them all to the park later on, and then there's the shopping and the lunch, and there's..." "Oh, well, you don't have to worry about any of that," said Mr. Large. "It's the weekend, so I'm in charge. Go on, back to bed with you. We'll take care of everything, won't we, kids?" "You bet," yelled Lester. Good old Lester. Mrs. Large trudged back upstairs, clutching a nice hot water bottle, and sank into her bed, which was still warm. "What a treat," she said. "That's really nice for Mommy to go back to bed when she's not feeling great, isn't it?" Downstairs, Mr. Large was organising his troops. "Right, men," he commanded. We're not all men," said Laura. "Oh, you know what I mean. Well, troops then. All right, I'll take the worst task. That's the washing up. Lester, you can tackle the hoovering. Luke, picking up things off the floor. Laura and the baby, general dusting and cushion plumping. Quick march. 1, 2, 1, 2, off you go." Mr. Large turned on the radio, found a jolly tune to cheer everyone along, and soon they were all busy with their tasks. That is a great start to the day, isn't it? Everybody helping. Upstairs, Mrs. Large was jolted back from the brink of sleep by the astonishing amount of noise blasting up through the floorboards. She listened anxiously for a while, but could soon tell they were mostly happy noises, so she wedged a pillow around her ears and decided to ignore it. Mrs. Large had just drifted back to sleep when she was rudely awakened by the baby, who was giving her a thorough dusting. "Sorry, Mum," yelled Laura, rushing in and grabbing the baby. The baby began to scream and hung onto the bedclothes so that they all fell over backwards. "Ah!" "This isn't proving very restful, Laura," said Mrs. Large crossly, as Laura disentangled herself and the baby and attempted to bundle the bedclothes back onto the bed. "Mummy, huggy!" screamed the baby. "Want my mummy! Big huggy now!" Laura stuffed the baby under her arm and wrestled her out the door. "Don't worry, Mum," she called as she closed the door behind them. "I'll take her down to Dad." "Don't want Dad! Want Mummy!" bellowed the baby. "Want my mummy!" Oh dear. Mrs. Large rearranged the mangled bedclothes and snuggled down, feeling decidedly jangled. Suddenly there was an almighty crunch from downstairs, and the hoover stopped abruptly. The bedroom door opened and Lester looked in. "It's all right, Mum," he reassured her. "Nothing's broken, it just sounded bad." Luke's head appeared round Lester's knees. "Yeah, that's right, Mum," he agreed. "Nothing to worry about. You just go back to sleep. Everything's under control." Doesn't sound it, does it? Mrs. Large was finally dropping off when Mr. Large crashed open the bedroom door. "We're all off to the park now, dear," he announced. "We'll get the shopping on the way home and then we can bring you up some nice lunch." "Thank you, dear," said Mrs. Large. "I'm having a lovely rest." Mr. Large beamed and he blew his wife a kiss. Mwah! And backed out of the room, closing the door very quietly. At last, Mrs. Large dozed off. What seemed like 5 minutes later, she was woken by the smell of burning. Just then, Laura put her head round the door. "Dad says not to worry about the smell. He's getting the lunch ready and he wants to know if you'd like some." What exactly is it?" asked Mum, Mrs. Large, nervously. "Well," said Laura, "it was something in a special sauce, but Dad just had a little look at the football on TV. Well, it was quite a big look, and actually, so now it's just cheese sandwiches." "I think I'll carry on sleeping, but thank you, dear," said Mrs. Large. "Perhaps I could join you at tea time." "Righto," said Laura, slamming the door as she rushed off to tell Dad. Mrs. Large closed her eyes and tried to relax. What seemed like 3 seconds later, the door crashed open again and all the children came charging in. "We're going to play football with Dad," yelled Lester. "In the garden," said Luke. "No," said the baby. "Are you feeling a bit better, Mum?" asked Laura. "Mummy, better," asked the baby. "Big huggy?" A bit better. You go and have fun with Daddy and perhaps I'll be all right later on." "Big huggy," wept the baby as Lester scooped her up and carried her out. "Big huggy, Mummy, now." "Don't worry, Mum," said Laura. "She loves football once she gets going." The door slammed shut for the 100th time. Mrs. Large winced and slithered down under the cupboards. Joyful sounds came drifting in from the garden, and Mrs. Large smiled contentedly. She was pleased that they were all having a lovely time, wasn't she? 5 minutes later, Lester burst into the bedroom. "Dad says, where are the bandages?" he yelled. "Don't worry, Mum, it's not the baby. Dad tripped over the rake." "Oh, they're on top of the bathroom cabinet," said Mrs. Large weakly. After a while, the door opened again, and Mr. Large came in carrying a tray laden with tea and cakes. The children sneaked in behind him and lurked. The baby didn't lurk for long. She climbed grimly onto the bed and clasped her mother round the neck. "Big huggy," she crooned. She's missed her mum, hasn't she? "Everyone out," ordered Mr. Large. "Let Mummy have her rest now. She's not well today." Mrs. Large heaved herself into a sitting position and patted the covers. "That's all right, dear," she said. "I've had a very restful day and I'm feeling much better. Why don't you all come and join me for tea?" "Well, if you're sure," said Mr. Large, and everyone piled onto the bed to tell Mrs. Large all about the day she'd missed. And there at the end, they're all asleep except for Mum. She's looking a bit squashed, isn't she? Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Here's some other stories on the back. A Quiet Night, a piece of, I'm not sure what that one is, all in one piece, 5 minutes piece. Lots of lovely stories by this author, Jill Murphy, about the Large family. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great weekend. Bye.